My name is Jaleesa Epps, and today I will be speaking about the transformative power of travel. Transformation can be defined as a dramatic change in form or appearance. Synonyms of transformation are change, alteration, and reconstruction. But before we get into how transformative traveling can be, a little bit about myself first. I'm a business procedure writer at Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, a student at Drake University in the Master of Science in Leadership Development program, a friend, a sister, and a daughter to some wonderful folks in Waterloo, Iowa, where I was both born and raised. On my 25th birthday, I took a trip for the first time to New York City, where I saw Times Square, Grand Central Station, and Madison Square Garden. It was also my first time getting on a plane. And when I arrived in New York, I experienced another first, getting on a subway. New York was a culture shock for me. The city was humongous with a large and ethnically diverse metropolis area. I saw people from the Caribbean with Rastafarian dreadlocks, European women with traditional headscarves, and Orthodox Jews. Did you know that New York is home to the largest Jewish population in the world outside of Israel? Another thing that I learned about New York is that it can be a very cold place. Depending on the crowd, making small talk on the subway with complete strangers might not be the best idea. And it's always best to avoid looking at other passengers directly in the eye for more than a second, because they can view that as being aggressive. After my experience in New York, I developed wanderlust. I had this intense desire to travel and explore the world. So 6 months after my trip to New York, I decided to go to Europe, specifically London, Paris, and Amsterdam. It was my first international flight. When I arrived in London, I received a rude awakening. My boyfriend and I were detained at the airport for 2 hours because we did not have adequate information on why we were there and where we would be staying. We did not book a hotel before boarding a plane to London. So we just sat in a secluded area with a group of other foreigners as they too were being investigated for reasons unknown. After about 2 hours of interrogation, we were finally rescued by my boyfriend's cousin. If it had not been for him, we would have been sent back to the US. As I took my first steps out of the airport, I saw a city that was very similar to New York. There was a large and ethnically diverse population and booming businesses everywhere. The next day, we decided to explore the city. We went to cafes and dined on croissants, which are very popular. We really didn't have an itinerary to guide us, no schedule to follow, so we asked some of the locals what places they would recommend, and mostly everyone recommended Trafalgar Square. Trafalgar Square is a public square in central London. It is home to iconic stone lions, fountains, and other various statues. Many events are hosted there, including cultural celebrations, rallies, and commercial events. It's a must-see destination for visitors who are seeking adventure. While there, I saw many street performers, such as dancers, magicians, and this strange guy painted in all gold. I'm not sure who he is supposed to be portraying. Nonetheless, tourists from literally all over the world were in this square. I met people from Spain, Canada, Japan, Nigeria, all within this one space and within a small amount of time. My boyfriend and I also visited the Stables Market, which is London's most popular open-air market area with stalls, shops, pubs, and restaurants. There we saw quite a few people dressed in punk rock clothing. It was almost as if the 80s never left London. After a week in London, we then took a train to Paris. It was my first time taking a train to another country. Again, we did not find a hotel until we arrived. I remember sitting at a coffee shop with all of our luggage while my boyfriend frantically went looking for a hotel. I waited for what seemed like forever. We did eventually find a hotel, and the next day we went sightseeing. The main thing that I wanted to see was the Eiffel Tower. Constructed in 1889, the tower is 1,063 feet tall, about the same height as an 81-storied building. It is also the tallest structure in Paris. We stayed in Paris for approximately 2 days. From Paris, we took the train to Amsterdam, our stay lasting 3 days. One of the things that makes Amsterdam so unique is its legalization of marijuana. Customers can buy mushrooms, cannabis, chocolate cookies, lollipops, and more. The drug can be found in cafes all over. I've even seen people smoking it outside in public, and the weirdest thing about it was that no one cared. Another thing that makes Amsterdam so unique is its legalization of prostitution. 73% of the Dutch say they have no problem with prostitution whatsoever. By legalizing the oldest profession in the world, Amsterdam controls the industry. Because of this, there is a very low percentage of home prostitution. Workers do not need to go out on the streets anymore to meet customers. Interested in going window shopping? Then take a visit to the red light district, which leaves nothing to the imagination. From women standing in red fringed windows to sex shops to museums, there is something for everyone. The place is packed with men, young and old, couples holding hands, groups of giggling women, and loads of tourists toting cameras. Amsterdam is also known for its bicycle culture. It is the most bicycle-friendly capital city in the world. Amsterdam has more bicycles than people, and over 60% of trips are made by bike in the inner city. Cyclists young and old ride on bike paths, which are completely separate from the streets that cars drive on. Also, Amsterdam has a great transportation system. People can travel by ferry, bus, the underground subway, bicycle, car, and tram. A tram is a vehicle, sort of like a bus, that operates on rails. While in Amsterdam, I experienced my first time riding on a tram. So the next time you decide to travel, be adventurous. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable and try new things for the first time. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. Traveling can increase your independence and expand your perception of the world and its many cultures. This is the transformative power of travel.